Hello and welcome back to this edition of News Today, a series where we discuss and analyze today's top stories with precision and clarity. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. The Supreme Court has rejected plea seeking 100% cross-verification of EVM's data with VVPAT records. Supreme Court Registry refuses to receive petition to abolish collegium system and revive NGAC. RBI sets eligibility criteria for SFB to transit into universal banking under on-tap licensing. Defense Secretary participated in Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defense Ministers meeting. A study by Indian National Center for Ocean Information Service scientists showed that realistic representation of bathymetry led to improved surface current simulations. Decreasing trend in solar radiation for electricity observed by Indian Meteorological Department. Starting with the very first news. The Supreme Court has rejected plea seeking 100% cross-verification of EVM's data with VVPAT records. In a significant development, the Supreme Court has rejected a plea seeking 100% cross-verification of electronic voting machines' data with voter-verifiable paper audit trail records. The Supreme Court issued two key directions in the response to the plea. Firstly, the symbol loading units or SLUs used in VVPATs should be sealed, secured, and stored for 45 days after election results. These SLUs shall be stored alongside the EVMs and subjected to examination similar to EVMs. Secondly, the Supreme Court has mandated the examination of burnt memory semicontrollers in 5% of the EVMs, including control units, ballot units, and VVPATs, upon written requests from losing candidates. To understand the Supreme Court's directives better, let's go back to the basics of EVM and VVPAT, both of which are integral to India's electoral process. EVM is a microcontroller-based instrument developed by the Election Commission of India in collaboration with Electronics Corporation of India and Bharat Electronics Limited. EVMs were first used in Kerala's general election in 1982. It consists of a control unit that belongs to polling officers and a balloting unit used to cast votes. An integral part of the voting process is the voter verifiable paper audit trail or VVPAT. VVPAT is a system attached to EVMs that allows voters to verify their votes by viewing a printed slip for 7 seconds showing the serial number, name and symbol of the chosen candidate. It's worth noting that the Supreme Court's 2019 order mandated VVPAT cross-verification of 5 EVMs in each assembly segment of a parliamentary constituency. Aside from these directives, the Election Commission of India has implemented several other reforms to enhance electoral transparency. These include capping election expenditure, restricting exit polls before the final phase of elections, enabling voting through postal ballots, and requiring candidates to declare criminal antecedents and assets. As the nation gears up for future elections, these measures aim to strengthen the electoral process and uphold democratic principles. Ahead in the news, Supreme Court Registry refuses to receive petition to abolish collegium system and revive NJAC. In a recent development that has reignited the debate around judicial appointments, the Supreme Court Registry has refused to accept a petition calling for the abolition of the collegium system and the revival of the National Judicial Appointments Commission or NJAC. First, let's briefly understand what the collegium system entails. It is a system through which judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts are appointed by the President based on recommendations made by a panel of senior judges as per Articles 124 and 217 of the Constitution. Let's also explore how appointments are made through the collegium system. In the Supreme Court, the collegium comprises the Chief Justice of India and the 4 other senior-most judges. For the appointment of judges in High Court, collegium in High Court recommends the names which is confirmed by the collegium in Supreme Court. High Court Collegium consists of Chief Justice of High Court and 2 senior-most judges of the concerned High Court, whereas Supreme Court Collegium for appointment in High Court consists of CJI and 2 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court. This mechanism has evolved through landmark Supreme Court judgments known as the 3 judges cases delivered in 1981, 1993 and 1998. The collegium system is currently governed by the Memorandum of Procedure. Its proponents argue that it insulates the judiciary from potential executive or legislative interference, thus preserving its independence. However, critics have pointed out several issues. It is neither a constitutional nor a statutory body. Other criticisms are no prescribed norms for eligibility criteria, lack of transparency and accountability, allegations of nepotism, and quid pro quo, etc. It was to address these concerns that the National Judicial Appointments Commission, or NJAC, was established by the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act 2014 to replace the collegium system. In Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association and Another versus Union of India 2015, the Supreme Court struck down the NJAC as unconstitutional. NJAC, in addition to judicial members, also had non-judge members like Union Law Minister and two eminent persons. This was considered to be violating the separation of powers between the executive and judiciary. With the Registry's refusal to entertain the latest petition, the collegium system appears set to continue for now. However, calls for greater transparency and accountability in judicial appointments are likely to persist. In our next news, RBI sets eligibility criteria for SFB to transit into universal banking under on-tap licensing. Let's straight away dive into the details of this significant development. Universal banks, or UBs, offer a wide range of financial services beyond basic banking and investment banking such as insurance. Until now, small finance banks were primarily focused on basic banking activities such as acceptance of deposits and lending to underserved sections. The concept of on-tap licensing was introduced in 2016, allowing banks to apply for banking licenses with the RBI throughout the year, unlike the previous invitation-based process. Now let's explore the eligibility criteria for SFBs transitioning into UBs. Firstly, SFBs must have a minimum net worth of Rs 1,000 crore and must be scheduled banks with a satisfactory performance record of at least 5 years. On the profitability front, SFBs must have reported net profits in the last 2 financial years, while their asset quality must be top-notch with gross and net non-performing assets below 3% and 1% respectively during this period. Additionally, the SFB's shares must be listed on recognized stock exchange. Interestingly, the RBI has also mandated that no changes to the existing promoter group or shareholding dilution plan will be permitted during the transition process. Furthermore, SFBs with a diversified loan portfolio are likely to be preferred by the regulator. At last, now let's have a quick overview of small finance banks. Originally announced in the 2014-15 Union Budget, they are registered as a public limited company, registered under the Companies Act 2013 and governed by the Banking Regulation Act 1949. They have no restrictions on where to operate. Further, except for some SFBs, the capital requirement is 200 crore. Also, if we talk about its mandates for financial inclusion, they are required to extend 75% of their A and BC or adjusted net bank credit to the priority sector. As SFBs look towards transitioning into universal banks, this move underscores the evolution of the banking landscape and the RBI's effort to promote financial inclusivity.
In our next news, Defense Secretary participated in Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defense Ministers meeting. To grasp on this better, let's take a quick glance on the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Headquartered in Beijing, China, it was formed in 2001 at the Shanghai Summit by Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyz Republic, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. It is a permanent intergovernmental international organization currently with 9 member countries, 3 observer states and 6 dialogue partners. Russian and Chinese are its official languages, and its goal is to strengthen mutual confidence and good neighborly relations among member countries. Coming back to the latest development, the key focus of the meeting was the issuance of a joint communique where the SCO defense ministers agreed to develop the idea of one Earth, one family, one future. This concept is rooted in the ancient Indian philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which finds mention in the Maha Upanishad and means the world is one family. An equally significant aspect comes from the viewpoint of India. As for us, SCO holds significant importance on multiple fronts. Geopolitically, it strengthens India's position as a promoter of a multilateral global order and aids in practicing strategic autonomy. Economically, it gives access to the resource-rich Central Asian region with reserves of iron ore, coal, gas, uranium, and more. The SCO's regional anti-terrorist structure provides key intelligence on terrorist movements and drug trafficking, aiding India's counter-terrorism efforts. Furthermore, the SCO boosts connectivity, projects like the Chabahar Port, International North-South Transport Corridor, and Tapi Pipeline. However, India faces certain challenges within the SCO. China's dominance, with all members except India endorsing the Belt and Road Initiative, poses concerns. Also, the long-standing rivalry between India, Pakistan and China casts a shadow over the grouping. Additionally, SCO is viewed as an anti-West forum by Western countries, and it has limited institutional capacity and decision-making processes. In conclusion, the SCO Defense Ministers meeting showcased India's commitment to the vision of one Earth, one family, one future, rooted in the ancient Indian philosophy. However, India's participation was tempered by the challenges it faces. Navigating these complexities adeptly will be crucial for India to maximize the benefits of its engagement with the SAO. In our next news, a study by Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Service showed that realistic representation of bathymetry led to improved surface current simulations. Bathymetry is a technique dedicated to mapping the depths of rivers, seas, and oceans. It also involves identifying underwater features like seamounts, mountain ranges, valleys, and creating three-dimensional maps of the seafloor. The study highlights how bathymetry impacts ocean circulation in several ways. Near coastal regions, currents are modified, and even relatively small ridges on the seafloor can influence the direction of major ocean currents. In the deep ocean, ridges serve as solid barriers separating bottom waters in adjacent ocean basins. The key findings from the INCOI study include insights into the behavior of various currents. For instance, at depths of 1,000 and 2,000 meters, the East India coastal current in the Bay of Bengal flows in the opposite direction compared to its surface flow. This current is seasonal, flowing poleward during the summer monsoon and equatorward during winter. The study also revealed that the presence of the Maldives Islands is responsible for the westward extent of the equatorial undercurrent, or EUC. EUC is a subsurface ocean current that flows eastward along the equatorial region. Additionally, a boundary current along the coast of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands was found at a depth of 2,000 meters. Lastly, the salinity and temperature of the upper ocean in the simulations were very close to the observed values near the coast. Wrapping up, let's also look at the specifics of the Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Service, or INCOIS. It is an autonomous body established in 1999 under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. It stands as a unit of the Earth System Science Organization and is a permanent member of the Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO. It is also a founding member of the Indian Ocean Global Ocean Observing System and the Partnership for Observing the Oceans. Its key functions include providing the best possible ocean information and advisory services to society, industry, and government agencies. It also provides warnings on tsunamis, storm surges, high waves, and more through the Indian Tsunami Early Warning Center. In our next news, decreasing trend in solar radiation for electricity observed by India Meteorological Department study. To begin with, global solar radiation is the total amount of solar radiation that is being received per unit area on the Earth's surface. The key finding of the study is that the solar photovoltaic potential, or SPV, which represents the amount of radiation that can be practically available to be converted to electricity by solar panels, is showing a general decline across IMD's monitoring stations. These are measured as kilowatt hours per installed kilowatt of capacity. Alarmingly, even states like Gujarat and Rajasthan, where India's largest solar parks are located, are exhibiting a decrease in SPV potential. This decrease is attributed to an increase in aerosol load, which comprises fine particles from carbon emissions, fossil fuel burning, and dust. Aerosols have the ability to absorb sunlight and deflect it away from the Earth, and they can also form dense clouds that block sunlight from reaching the surface. Delving further in the status of solar energy in India, we have made significant strides in promoting solar energy. As of March 2024, the country's installed solar energy capacity stands at an impressive 81.81 gigawatts. However, India's solar energy potential is estimated to be staggering 748 gigawatt peak by the National Institute of Solar Energy. Currently, India ranks 5th globally in terms of solar power capacity, and the government has approved 50 solar parks with an aggregate capacity of 37.49 gigawatts. To further promote solar power, the government has launched several initiatives, including the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme for the National Program on High-Efficiency Solar Photovoltaic Modules. The solar park scheme to establish the 50 large-scale solar parks of 500 megawatt and above, and the PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, which provides subsidies to install solar panels on rooftops. However, the IMD study's findings highlight the need for concerted efforts to address the increasing aerosol load and its impact on solar radiation, as it could potentially hinder India's progress in harnessing its vast solar energy potential. In today's Place in News, we will discuss Burkina Faso with its capital, Ouagadougou. Burkina Faso suspended BBC and Voice of America after covering report on mass killings. Let's discuss its political features. It's a landlocked country in Western Africa, bounded by Mali, Niger, Benin, Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, and Togo. In terms of its geographical features, its highest mountain is Mount Tenakuru, and its rivers include Black Volta, Red Volta, and White Volta. All three converge in Ghana to the south to form the Volta River. Its major lakes are Bam and Ursi. Its vegetation consists mainly of flat savanna, which lies within the Sahelian zone.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. For the first time, Bru voters exercised their franchisee in the Tripura Lok Sabha election. Also referred to as Riyangs, Bru community have historically resided in Mizoram, Tripura and parts of southern Assam. Riyangs in Tripura are categorized as particularly vulnerable tribal groups. RBI kept the foreign portfolio investment limit in government securities unchanged at 6% of outstanding stocks of securities for 2024-25. Government securities are tradable instruments issued by governments through auctions conducted by RBI. They are of two types, short-term and long-term. The center has extended AEO status to the gem and jewelry sector. The Authorized Economic Operator program is under the aegis of the World Customs Organization's SAFE framework. It aims to enhance international supply chain security and facilitate movement of legitimate goods. DNA analysis of ancient graves has revealed insights on the social life of Avars. Avars are nomadic people who survived in Eastern Central Asia between 6th to 9th century. They are considered successors of the Huns by their way of life and warfare. The 26th World Energy Congress, co-hosted by the World Energy Council, concluded in Rotterdam, Netherlands. Formed in 1923, the World Energy Council is an UN-accredited not-for-profit global energy body. Its mission is to enable access to clean, affordable and reliable energy for better lives and a healthier planet. Self-bred corals from the World Coral Conservatory Project nested among Europe's largest coral reefs at the Burgers Zoo in the Netherlands. World Coral Conservatory Project, launched in Monaco in 2019, aims to protect in a network of partner public and private aquariums a global collection of the majority of coral species and strains in the form of living colonies. Various researches are being conducted on the H3 and H4 receptors of histamine. Histamine is one of the earliest identified mediators of allergy. The procession of the Lord Kalla Lagar back from the Vaigai river marked the end of the Chittirai festival. Alagar temple is located on the foothills of the Alagar hills in Madurai, Tamil Nadu. The temple is one of the 108 abodes of Lord Vishnu, worshipped here in the name of Kalla Lagar. It has 6 corridors surrounded by fort walls. Before we wrap up today's bulletin, we would like to make an exciting announcement. From today on, we are switching things up. No more waiting until the next day to get the answers for our daily quiz. On popular demand, we will start sharing the answers in the comment section on the same day. You can find today's answers in the pinned comment below. Go find out whether you nailed the test. Now let's put your knowledge to the test in today's quiz segment, Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this edition of News Today engaging. For the solutions to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.